Hi everyone, it's Jen with Freedom Fighters Spirited Saturdays, and this week we're wrapping up our 4-part series. I just made this whole video, ran out of time, so I'm going to have to try to pace myself this time. We're wrapping up our 4-part series on body mastery and control, resisting internalization of the ideal, and self-esteem. And so the whole series is psychological factors in achieving positive body image or self-image. Okay, so we're going to cover everything we did, talk about practical ways to apply it to our lives. Excuse me. First, I want to talk about self-awareness. It's important to identify yourself as you. Okay, that's where we can start. I'm Jen. I'm aware that I'm Jen. Just make that statement. It's a neutral statement. You can own it. You don't really have to like it or dislike it, and it is what it is, and you can own that. Then you can move on to understanding yourself. So there's self-awareness and self-understanding. Self-understanding is taking it a step further and knowing how you experience yourself and how you experience the way you relate to your environment. So, your likes, your dislikes, your passions, your personality, your fears, etc. So know that we have mastery over the way we utilize our understanding of ourselves and the way we use our self-understanding to relate to our surroundings. You can use self-understanding to create boundaries and to identify your strengths. And so you can start by using your self-awareness to take root and then use it for good, and then use it to develop a healthy self-understanding. And so there are many ways to do this. Making the body less of a priority, we want to focus on shifting away from the body. The body seems to be in eating disorders what takes so much of the brunt. It's so much of the focus. It's the scapegoat. It's just everything. And it's the kind of the center for so much negative energy that all that. So try to make the body less of a priority by focusing on mind-body connection. And so the focus is really on the integration of the mind into the body. Not how the body affects the mind so much, but how the way you treat the body affects your mind. So the behaviors, the way you're treating it, and the way you treat your mind that affects your body. So try not to experience yourself from the neck up, first of all. That's what happens when we function too much on intellect alone, and also when we engage in certain eating disordered behaviors. By restricting, you don't acknowledge your hunger, so you have a mind-body disconnect. You want to foster a whole-body connection as well as a mind-body connection. And so it's important to be in tune with what your whole body needs and not shut off certain parts in service of eating disordered behaviors, such as shutting off the needs of a grumbling stomach or interrupting a healthy digestive system. When my stomach says I'm hungry, it's healthy for my mind and my mouth to oblige. And so I think that practicing certain exercises can really help integrate this mind-body connection. And so something that you might want to try is literally feel your body in the chair you're sitting in and understand your physical boundaries, understand where you end and the chair begins, sense the feeling of your body against the different parts of the chair and how the chair is supporting you, how the air around you is allowing you to take shape and identify your form, how your feet are pressed against the floor, and just feel that relationship between you and your immediate environment, and feel how certain parts of your body connect to and support other parts of your body. And so I want to talk a little bit about moving. I think certain times there's a real place for slow and natural movement in recovery, depending on where you are, in how well you are physically and what you feel like you can handle emotionally as well. Movement can definitely have its place in recovery. So in my classes at school, we talk about moving, the concept of moving versus being moved, which is really, really fascinating to me. Moving is when we deliberately move. We exert force on ourselves to move. And being moved is the absence of exertion over our bodies. And so some ways to practice being moved are letting yourself feel the natural rhythm of your body when you're standing still, and then maybe when you're listening to music or when you're meditating in silence or with sound, and letting your body be moved. And you go with that, and you know that nobody can artificially create that movement. It's part of what makes you you, and it's a combination of lots of things going on inside your body and going on around you. So, these are very specific, very natural, and very pure kinds of movement that really can't be recreated. And so, you know, like for example, when I play the piano, I just realized that when we were talking about this in class, that is me being moved. I try to stay still sometimes and I can't, you know, and so that's like, I mean, it's kind of like duh, this huge like duh sign went off when I thought about that. But yeah, I'm being moved, and that's something that I really shouldn't try to constrain, you know. I should go along with that and recognize that as that's how I'm experiencing my passion and myself. And so it's a really, really great thing to value about myself. And so find whatever moves you and try to practice that in these little exercises, standing still, all that good stuff, and waiting for yourself to move and see what happens, you know, to be moved. And understanding that kind of rhythm that takes place naturally going on. Acknowledging that you have a body can be a first step to relating to that body and finding peace and gratitude within that body, and eventually really learning to see it as positive. And so let's talk about neutrality in the body. I think practicing some exercises that reinforce neutrality about the body can be a good place to start, with the goal of progressing from a neutral stance to a more positive stance over time, actually forming, you know, a positive feeling, positive experience. So you might want to ask yourself, how do I recognize myself? Imagine that, so you want to look at certain features, say, like start with observations of certain features, and then like you're looking in the mirror and you're just observing yourself. And so observe the features and observe how they function. You might want to start with neutral things, like, you know, that's the goal, to start with neutral things. I have brown eyes, I have wavy hair, my cheeks puff up when I smile, I have short fingers. Those are my examples. Then I can take it a step further and say, my cheeks puff up when I smile, which can be endearing or reinforce the sincerity of my smile. Or I have short fingers and can play a mean piano. Look at that, you know. So make the neutral positive. Another thing that you want to do is, if there's something about you that you don't like, just be patient with it and see it as a necessary part of you. Identify how it functions for you or how it's functioning inside you, and describe it without judgment the best you can. Like, describe the surface of it without judgment, without regard to size or shape. Maybe color, texture, where there's a birthmark. Try to start recognizing it, how it makes you in a non-judgmental way. Also think about this. If your size was fixed, right? If your size was fixed, what reasons would you have to treat yourself healthfully? So clearly there's justification for being a healthy person that extends beyond having a healthy looking body and a body that you might find visually appealing. Think about your motives to be healthy other than how it would reflect in your looks. The point being that if you are worthy of health regardless of looks, then you're operating from a very secure place. Your standards for liking yourself won't be conditional upon your body size. It can be fixed, the self-like, the self-esteem. It can be fixed because body size might change, but if you have a core respect for yourself, which would be evidenced in all these motivations that you may have just listed, you know, to take care of yourself, even if your body size was, you know, fixed as it was, then no matter how your body size fluctuates now, your sense of self and your sense of worth is fixed. I hope that made sense. So just, yeah, you can't move, whatever weight you're at right now, whatever size you are, that's it. It's always going to stay that way. What other reasons do you have to take care of yourself? Think about that. Think about, what do I want to look like? And by that I mean, what strengths about myself do I want to embody? And don't consider size or shape. Another thing that you can do is test your reality, or reality check. If you're having a distorted body image thought, think, how would I react to somebody else telling me they had this thought? For example, if I think I look bigger after eating a certain food, do I think that this other person looks bigger after she ate the same food? If she tells me that she feels bigger, do I agree or disagree? And when I disagree, and when I think that person looks the same or won't gain weight from this food, and when I think this person isn't going to wake up tomorrow visibly bigger because of this food that she's eating right now, then try to apply that to yourself. This might take some repetition, but can work, because you're challenging yourself. You're challenging ingrained thought patterns, and those patterns with repetition can be rewired. They were learned in the first place, so they can be relearned. Reality testing can also be used when you see someone who represents the ideal for you. First, remember that the ideal is subjective, and so your ideal may not be someone else's. And then try to tell yourself that you only see the surface of this person, and your way of you have no way of knowing how that person experiences herself or who she understands herself to be. So that's just another way of reality checking. Something that helped me in treatment actually with all of this was dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. I found it's a great treatment to practice both individually and in groups, and it focuses on acceptance and change. It implements strategies such as observing, describing, and participating, much like we talked about before a little bit with like participating in the being moved and just participating in it, engaging in it. Without judgment. That's the core of it. It's without judgment. It also uses mindfulness, including visualization exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, and it uses a cognitive approach to help you challenge the way you interpret your experiences. And so the goal is to accept the moment without judging it, and then change the thoughts and behaviors. And validate that moment is very, very important. So in treatment, anything, things that have helped me, anything that integrates the mind and the body, integrates the whole body, can be effective. I found that music, dance, art, drama therapy are all great tools to fully experience yourself in an integrated way. And so that kind of does it. That wraps up our series in psychological factors in achieving positive body image. And that's, I feel like maybe I skipped over something, but whatever, I don't think I did. So have a great week, everyone, and take care.